So Canelo Alvarez gets the job done last night against Edgar Berlanga. In this video, we break down Canelo's performance, Edgar Berlanga's performance. Is Bud Crawford ready for this challenge? And at the very end, we just kind of do a quick recap of the rest of the card. This is your boy JG. This is the Punch Report. Let's just get into the content. So as I mentioned before, Canelo got it done last night. A couple things I wanted to bring up from my prediction video yesterday. I said the left hook would be a problem. Edgar Berlanga gets hit with that a lot.
And you have an opportunity to do so.
Canelo has a beautiful one that he throws with a lot of variety. I mentioned that as well. He dropped him bad in the third round, and it pretty much set the tone for the rest of the fight. Additionally, Canelo Alvarez game plan to pressure and utilize feints and provide different looks offensively worked beautifully. Edgar Berlanga is limited, very good rudimentarily. From a rudimentary perspective, he doesn't do a lot of things sensationally well or have a lot of variety. He's a very, very good basic style fighter. Struggles to mix it up. Canelo Alvarez took advantage of that. Now I want to get into the specifics of Canelo and his performance last night. One of the things that threw me for a loop is Canelo looked extremely fast. Very, very fast, very deliberate. And you can say, oh, well, you know, that's Berlanga. He's supposed to look that way. I think about it like I think about the Bud Crawford fight when he took on Errol Spence Jr. Sure, Errol did not look himself, but Bud Crawford would have beat anyone the evening. He looked that good. He looked that dominant. Even shots that Bud Crawford was not landing, he looked menacing and just like a world beater out there. This is kind of how Canelo looked to me. I haven't seen him move this well in a long time. I haven't seen him show the variety that he showed last night in a long time. I haven't seen that speed in a long time, and the deliberate nature of his delivery from the punches both to the body and obviously to the head were top tier. He has a ton left in the tank. I'm excited to see what he's doing moving forward, but not from a fight perspective or an opponent perspective, because I've gotten to the point where I know Canelo's probably not going to make the right decision. So I don't get upset about that. He's being pretty consistent and just wanting to fight the guys that he wants to fight. And him going out there and putting on great performances is enough for me from that perspective. Going over to Edgar Berlanga, he got cooked. You know, I predicted that he would get stopped in this bout. He did not. He was able to demonstrate his ability to be durable and resilient, and get off the deck and continue to get pounded on by Canelo Alvarez. I got to give him credit, though, for getting off the deck, not being discouraged, and going out there and trying to apply himself the best way possible. I'd be interested to see on what's next for him. If I had to kind of assess him from the perspective of anything he could have done differently, it's super simple. Throw that 1-2 more consistently. He had a beautiful jab yesterday evening. Canelo wasn't overly affected by it, but he also wasn't making necessary adjustments. Add a feint, throw the 1-2, 1-1-2. Canelo was moving straight back in the line because you weren't offering anything additional behind that beautiful jab of yours. Throw the feint in there, throw the 1-2, throw the 1-1-2, and just mix it up. Add more variety to that. I'm not saying it would have done anything. Canelo got a crazy ass chin. He's extremely durable himself, but you got to give yourself the best opportunity and start to switch it up. I heard Caleb Plant mention that he may be interested in a Berlanga fight or a Canelo rematch. I like those fights for Edgar Berlanga. Guys who can box and move really, really well like Caleb Plant, though, those are going to present certain challenges for Berlanga, so they got to get something sorted out from his team's perspective. Shout out to Canelo Alvarez on his victory. He looked great. That left hook was going to be a problem. I said this yesterday in my breakdown video, and it manifested during the course of the bout. Shout out to Canelo Alvarez. Shout out to Edgar Berlanga. He got the sweepstakes, and he also got cooked. He did not win a single round. He was outlanded in every single round, 1 through 12, and the discrepancy was wide. Canelo had more output and was more efficient. And that's kind of an interesting point. People have noted that Canelo tends to slow down in the back half of bouts. His output was still really, really high. And he still had zip on his punches in the 11th, I believe. At the end of the round, he hurt Berlanga, so he just showed viability in there. So shout out to both these combatants. Now, I've said all of this stuff. Shout out to Canelo Alvarez. Shout out to Berlanga. I want to discuss Terence Bud Crawford. Terence Bud Crawford fans, hear me loud and clear. This is not a problem that Crawford wants. Crawford does present unique attributes that could give Canelo some trouble. It's one of my criticisms for Berlanga. There was nothing unique he would be able to present to Canelo that he hasn't seen and couldn't deal with. I think Crawford does do some things stylistically and with his athleticism that could give Canelo problems. But I can't stop thinking about the Israel Madrimov fight. Big guy for 54, Bud Crawford moves up. It is his first bout in all fairness, but it's at 54, not 60 or 68. The fight goes a distance. It's close. Some people think Bud lost. I thought Bud won close, and he did some things that I was impressed with. But I think about 2 more weight classes from 54 to 68 against a guy who many still consider pound for pound, that being Canelo Alvarez, and the display he put on against a bigger man in Berlanga himself leads me to believe that would be a one-sided beatdown. Or if it didn't start that way, it would end that way. Right now, I haven't seen enough of Terence Bud Crawford at 54, 60, and he obviously hasn't fought at 60, and he's definitely not fought at 68. That would lead me to believe that he would really pose much of a threat to Canelo Alvarez, because you got to think about this. Alvarez, he got that iron chin for real. Like, this is not a game. Like I said before, see Triple G, see Danny Jacobs, see a number of fights where this dude has had his beard tested and he holds up. Bud Crawford had a touch-and-go situation with Israel Madrimov where he was never really hurt or out of that fight. And the expectation is that I believe that he's going to go up and give Canelo Alvarez a bunch of trouble. I don't see that for Crawford. Crawford, hell of a fighter. Obvious to me that this is more of a business play. If I can just get the Canelo bout, it's going to be a crazy bag. Win, lose, or draw, it doesn't matter. I'm 2 times undisputed. I walk away and my family's set. But Canelo Alvarez is not here for that. He's here to do what he want to do. So it's on his timetable. He's been at the top of the mountain a bit longer. He's made a boatload of money over the course of his illustrious career. And from that perspective, he's going to call the shots. It's going to be difficult for Crawford to even figure out a way to get a bout like that. But that's my thoughts on the Crawford situation. And shout out to him. They called my man Kendrick Lamar at the UFC event. So someone's definitely jammed up for that. They got him posed up. He's doing his thing, smiling, cheesing. They put the Kendrick Lamar joint on him. That was wild. But last but not least, to wrap this video, quick recap of the other main card bouts that took place. Very proud of Caleb Plant and how he represented himself. He took on Trevor McCumbee, tough dude, undefeated, like almost all knockouts, if not all knockouts, if I can remember correctly. I was surprised to see Caleb get dropped. He got dropped hard, but he came back, put on a show, stunned on McCumbee, and it got the stoppage. The commentary crew, they acted confused, like, oh, did they just stop the fight? If you go back and see the shots that McCumbee was getting hit clean with, yeah, you need to stop that before you get hurt bad for real. So shout out to Caleb Plant. He definitely did his thing. He mentioned that he may want to look at Berlanga. He mentioned a Canelo Alvarez rematch is something that, of course, he would want. So I think he's put himself back in a position to be amongst the top guys. He mentioned Charlo as well. At this point, I don't know what Charlo he was mentioning. I think they both get cooked because they out here doing reckless shit. So it's hard to call that. Shocking to see Danny Garcia quit. Danny Swift Garcia has been a fighter I've admired for a long time. Went up to 160 to challenge Edgar Berlanga and just got walked through, dropped, went to the corner, spoke to his dad, and that was that. That was definitely an interesting fight to see. I think this is what highlights, there's weight classes for a reason. He was at 47. He went up. He fought Jose Benavidez, a guy who fought another guy in a parking lot after that bout. Beat him at 54, goes up to 60 to challenge for a belt, and it doesn't work out. I just think that Edgar Berlanga too active, still too good. I mean, he's coming off a brutal knockout himself, where he actually folded a dude like laundry. I think that was a tall order for Danny Garcia, but I was shocked to see him not go down for the first time in his career, because Lada's good, but to see him just kind of dip out after he got clipped up. But we'll see what's next for him. I would try to, if his body can handle it, see if I can get back down to 54 and see what those bouts look like. But 160, I think, is not where Danny Garcia should be. This is a former 140-pounder, 147-pounder, went up to 54. Now he competed for a belt at 60. It didn't go his way. So we'll see what's next for Danny Garcia. Let me know what your thoughts were on the bouts last night. What's next for Canelo? Do you think Crawford really has a chance? And shout out to Caleb Plant. We'll see what's next for him. This is your boy JG. This has been the Punch Report. We out.